This is Jonathan Cahn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. When you look at what's happening in the world, it's easy to wonder what's going on, and are things out of control? Is this what the Bible foretold? Is the end near? What do I need to know about the future? Where's it all going? How can I be prepared? What is God's prophetic word for the hour and for me? On this channel, you're going to find prophetic updates, the mysteries of God, daily words for life, biblical revelation, prophetic teachings, and much more. I pray it's going to be a great blessing to you in the days ahead. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time there's a new video that's posted. Leave a comment as to how God is blessing you. And don't forget to share these videos with friends who need to hear them. Thanks again, and God bless you. Shalom.
Beloved, we are living in days unlike any other. The winds are shifting. The ground beneath us is trembling. The voices of the prophets echo across the ages. And today, June 3rd, 2025, is not merely a date on the calendar. It is a line drawn in eternity. A voice is crying out in the wilderness once more, "Prepare the way of the Lord." You who are watching, who are listening, not by accident have you come to this moment. The Lord has appointed this hour to speak to His chosen, His remnant, His warriors. The Spirit is saying to the churches, "Awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you." Core message: the days are growing darker, not by coincidence, but by decree. The shaking of the nations is not random, it is prophetic. For what was foretold long ago is now unfolding before our eyes. The idols of this age are trembling. The gods of pleasure, of pride, of power, they are collapsing. But in the midst of judgment, there is a voice calling, "Unat Shazin," not to the crowd, but to the called. The Lord is not seeking masses, He is seeking the faithful. He is not calling the popular, but the pure. He is not after fame, He is after fire. You are not here by chance, you have been chosen for such a time as this. Remember the days of Elijah, when the people of God had mingled with the ways of Baal. By this time, the people of God had mingled with the ways of Baal. They had forsaken the covenant, torn down the altars, and forgotten the voice of the Lord. But in the chaos, one man stood, one voice thundered on Mount Carmel, one fire fell. So it is again. You are that Elijah. You are that remnant. You are that voice crying in a wilderness of compromise. Real-life examples/stories. There was once a man who lived in a land of oppression. He was told to bow to the idol of his age, to remain silent in the face of evil, but he refused. His name was Daniel. When the decree was signed, Daniel did not flinch. He opened his window and prayed just as he had always done. And God shut the mouths of lions. Today you may be surrounded by lions. Lions of culture, of politics, of persecution. But if you stand, God will shut their mouths again. I knew a young woman who lived in a city drowning in darkness, but every morning she went to the park and read her Bible aloud. People mocked her, cursed her, but one day a man knelt beside her in tears. He said, "I was about to take my life, but when I heard the word, I heard hope." Beloved, do not despise the small act of faith. A whisper of truth in a dying world is louder than 1,000 screams of deception. Practical advice. So what must we do in this hour? 1. Return. Return to your first love. The time for lukewarm faith is over. Burn with holy fire. Get back to the secret place. The altar must be rebuilt in the home, in the heart. 2. Rebuild. Just as Nehemiah rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem, rebuild the broken places in your life. Relationships, habits, disciplines. Guard the gates. 3. Rekindle. Fan the flame. Do not grow weary in doing good. The oil of the Spirit must not run dry. Fill your lamp daily, for the bridegroom comes suddenly. 4. Resist. Resist the enemy, and he will flee. Resist compromise. Resist the seduction of this age. The days of neutrality are over. Choose this day whom you will serve. 5. Reach. Reach the lost. This is not a time to hide our light, but to let it shine. Speak the truth in love. Be bold, be unashamed. 6. Rest. Yes, rest. Not in comfort, but in confidence. Rest in His sovereignty. Rest in his promises. He is still on the throne. There are moments in time that look like every other moment. Days that pass without notice, like grains of sand falling through the hourglass. But then there are appointed times, divine appointments, moedim, days that heaven marks, though earth pays no attention. And yet, to those who are listening, those who are watching, those who have not bowed the knee to Baal, those moments carry the voice of God. God is not bound by clocks or calendars, yet he works in time, through time, and with time. He set the stars in the sky not only for light, but for signs and seasons. When the fullness of time came, the Messiah was born. When the time was fulfilled, judgment came to Babylon, to Jerusalem, to Rome. And when the appointed time comes again, the trumpet will sound and the sky will split. So do not think this date, this hour, is without weight. For the Lord has a pattern, and the times we are living in are not random. They are echoing what has already been. There is a season for everything under heaven, a time to be silent and a time to speak. And this, beloved, is not a time for silence. This is a time when the Spirit is speaking again, not in the fire or the earthquake, but in the still small voice. But only those who have not filled their ears with the noise of the world will hear it. And when God speaks, it is never without purpose. He speaks to call, to correct, to commission. He speaks not only in comfort, but in warning. In ancient times, the prophets declared words no one wanted to hear. Jeremiah was mocked. Elijah was hunted. Amos was rejected. But their words were not theirs. They were the voice of the Almighty. And now, once more, the Lord is stirring the hearts of his servants to declare that the time is near, the hour is late, and the people of God must return. As you look around you today, do you not see the signs? Do you not discern the times? The world is no longer as it was. Truth has fallen in the streets. Evil is called good, and good is called evil. The moral foundations are crumbling, and the ancient boundaries are being removed. These are not just political shifts or cultural trends. These are prophetic tremors. What was hidden is being revealed. What was prophesied is now unfolding. There is a convergence. The same spirits that warred against God in the days of Noah, in the days of Babel, in the days of Sodom, those spirits have returned. The ancient altars of Baal and Molech are being rebuilt under new names. The sacrifices continue, only now they are wrapped in modern language and laws. The same darkness that moved Pharaoh to kill the sons of Israel is the darkness that moves governments to redefine life, marriage, and truth itself. But even in this, God is not silent. Even in judgment, mercy speaks. For when the world grows darker, the light must shine brighter. When evil gathers, heaven responds. Do you not see it? Do you not feel the trembling in your spirit? This is not the end. It is the beginning of the revealing. He is shaking the nations. He is shaking systems. He is shaking churches. Everything that can be shaken will be shaken, so that what cannot be shaken may remain. This is a convergence of the holy and the unholy, the wheat and the tares, the light and the darkness. It is a separating of sheep from goats, of fire from ashes. And so in this hour, God is appointing his voices, not celebrities, not influencers, but watchmen, prophets, intercessors, unknown shepherds in hidden places, mothers at prayer, fathers on their knees, youth who carry an ancient fire. These are the ones he is calling. These are the ones who will carry his message, not to flatter ears, but to pierce hearts, not to entertain, but to awaken. We are not here by accident. You are not breathing today by random chance. You are living in the days the prophets longed to see. And the Lord is saying, he who has ears, let him hear what the Spirit is saying to the churches. In every age of darkness, God does not look to the multitude. He looks to the remnant. When nations fall away, when temples are defiled, when kings rebel, and when the people call good evil and evil good, God does not abandon his purposes. He searches for those whose hearts are fully his. He separates a people within a people, a holy remnant who will not bow, who will not bend, who will not break. The remnant is not popular, but it is powerful. It is not mighty in numbers, but it is mighty in spirit. It is not applauded by men, but it is known in heaven. In the days of Isaiah, when Judah had forsaken its covenant, God said, "Unless the Lord had left us a remnant, we would have become like Sodom." It was the remnant that preserved the line. It was the remnant that kept the fire burning on the altar. And now, in this generation, in this appointed moment, He is calling again. Not the casual, not the complacent, not the comfortable. He is calling the chosen, not by man's choosing, but by heaven's. The ones who hear His whisper in the wilderness, the ones who feel His grief in the midst of compromise, the ones who have not bowed to the golden calves of culture. They are scattered. They are hidden. Some dwell in cities, some walk among crowds unnoticed, but the Spirit is stirring them. They feel the fire rising. They feel the burden of the Lord. They cannot remain silent. They cannot walk in step with Babylon. They are marked, not by men, but by the hand of the Lord. He is calling them to rise, to awaken, to return to the high places, to rebuild the desolate ruins, to cry aloud and spare not. But before the rising comes the shaking. The shaking always precedes the awakening. The Lord shakes not to destroy, but to reveal. He removes what is temporary so that the eternal may stand. He shakes kingdoms. He shakes economies. He shakes institutions. He even shakes His own house. For judgment begins not with the ungodly, but with the household of faith. And so everything that was built on sand begins to crack. The church is built on spectacle rather than spirit. The lives built on religion rather than relationship. The ministries that sought fame instead of the fear of God. The Lord permits the shaking not out of wrath but out of mercy, because only what is unshakable will remain. Look around you. The systems of man are trembling. The strongholds are being exposed. The foundations are being tested. And in this the Lord is speaking. He is saying, "Return to me, come out from among them and be separate. Cleanse your hands, purify your hearts, rend your garments, no more trend your hearts." There was a time when the church was the conscience of the culture. Now much of the church has become its echo. But God is not calling for echoes. He is calling for voices, prophetic voices, broken vessels who carry His burden. The shaking is awakening those who slept through comfort, who slumbered through ease. The Spirit is blowing like a wind, rattling dry bones, calling them to rise again. The shaking will not end until it has accomplished its purpose. It will strip away false gods. It will expose hidden sin. It will refine the saints. But those who endure, those who cling to Him in the storm, they will be the ones to lead the awakening. In the days of Gideon, the army was large, but the Lord said, "Too many." He whittled them down until only the remnant remained, 300 against thousands. And yet it was enough. Because it is not by might, not by power, but by His Spirit. The awakening is not coming through crowds, it is coming through consecration. It will not be ushered in through programs, but through prayer closets. Not through strategy, but through surrender. And the Lord will do more with one yielded life than with 10,000 who merely go through the motion. So the call is clear. If you feel the shaking, do not fear it. Let it do its work. Let it tear down what is flesh, what is false, what is failing. Let it strip away what cannot stand. And then rise. Rise as the remnant. Rise as the watchman. Rise as the vessel. For though everything that can be shaken is shaking, we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken. And those who rise in this hour will shine like stars in a dark sky, carrying the glory of the one who called them out of darkness into His marvelous light. There comes a moment when God calls His people to return, not to where they've been, but to who they were meant to be. The call to return is not backward, it's upward. It is a call to come out of the wilderness of compromise, to leave behind the foreign gods of comfort and culture, and to return to the ancient path, the holy way, the road that leads to Zion. In the days of Nehemiah, the walls of Jerusalem lay in ruin. The city was exposed. The gates were burned with fire. The people lived in disgrace. But in the midst of that desolation, God moved on the heart of one man. He wept. He fasted. He prayed. But God is calling his people to return. Return to the word. Return to the fire. Return to the altar that once burned day and night. Return not in words only, but in spirit and in truth. From return must come rebuilding, not with stone and timber, but with obedience and sacrifice. The ruins must be repaired, not by those seeking applause, but by those seeking his face. It begins with repentance. It begins with the clearing of idols, the realignment of priorities, the rekindling of prayer. The Spirit of God is seeking those who will rebuild not structures, but the dwelling places of his presence. The altars in homes, the fire in pulpits, the reverence in worship. He is calling not for performance, but purity, not talent, but truth, not charisma, but consecration. It is time to put our hands to the work, not waiting for revival to fall from heaven, but preparing the place where it can dwell. And once you return and rebuild, you must rekindle. The fire must burn again, not the fire of emotion, but the fire of the Spirit. There was once a flame that burned in your heart, a hunger, a zeal, a longing to walk with God, to hear his voice, to be set apart. That fire may have dimmed, the ashes may have grown thick, but the flame is not dead. It is not too late to rekindle the fire. Stir up the gift, fan the embers. Do not wait for someone to do it for you. Go to the secret place. Open the book again. Fall to your knees and do not rise until the flame burns. For God never stopped being a consuming fire, and those who draw near to him cannot remain cold. But all of this is not for another day. It is for now. Today is not ordinary. It is not casual. It is a doorway, and you stand at its threshold. There are days when heaven opens windows, but there are days when heaven opens doors. This is one of those days. The door is before you, not of man's making, but God's, a door of destiny. Behind this door is everything you were made for, your calling, your anointing, the purpose for which you were born. But a door means nothing if you do not walk through it. There were 10 virgins waiting for the bridegroom, but only 5 were ready when the door opened. The others were too late. The moment passed. The opportunity vanished. Do not miss the door. Do not delay. The things of eternity are never meant to be handled with casual hands. If the Spirit is stirring you now, it is because something has been appointed for this hour. This very day has been written in the scrolls of heaven. Before you were born, this moment was seen. And if you rise now, if you return and rebuild and rekindle the flame, then you will walk through the door and into the destiny he prepared for you before the foundations of the earth. You will not simply survive the shaking. You will shine in the midst of it. You will not merely endure the darkness. You will pierce it, but you must choose. You must act. The remnant does not wait for the crowd. The faithful do not delay for confirmation. They hear the whisper and they move. They see the door and they step through. And when they do, they become part of the great unveiling of God's purpose in the earth. Today is not an accident. It is a summons. You have come to the threshold of something eternal. What you do now will echo beyond time.